Okay, so I've had an issue with this timeline. I can't export this at a high quality. This project is 1 hour long. It's a test project of, there's a lot of things going on. So there's a lot of layers. You can click in here. The background alone has so many layers and is a compound clip within a compound clip within a compound clip. Ugh, very annoying. But I also don't want to export these files and put them back in because I still want to be able to edit them if I maybe find a mistake that I made or whatever. So I found a solution. It's not a great solution. It's the best that I could come up with. I've spent days trying to figure this out. I've uninstalled Google Chrome. I've tried the internal hard drive because I've tried different cables for my external hard drives, but in the end, it all didn't matter. I could export like 2 minutes and then I tried exporting everything, couldn't do that. It just stopped exporting. It didn't tell me a reason why. That was so frustrating. It didn't say why it wouldn't let me export it. And then also I tried exporting 10 minutes. That also didn't work. So yeah, that's when I knew it. I don't know where the problem is, but I know a workaround. I know a solution, and it's kind of annoying, but I got it to work. If I was to export this layer, this layer, this layer, and then put them back together, that way it will work. But that's very annoying, and again, it just it gets lost, except if you do this little trick, which is it's not so much of a trick, it's just I don't know, you gotta come up with this stuff. Um, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do the 1 hour background. And in here, I'm basically gonna just gonna split these up into different projects. That is the whole magic behind this. Um, so I'm gonna have the background, I'm gonna have the main part, and then I'm gonna have the master, which is gonna be the I can name it that as well. The export version. That's what we're gonna. Actually, that's not the master then, I believe. That's the version that we're gonna export. The final version, and this is the master. That is where everything is how it is supposed to be. That's how you edit it, and that's how it makes the most sense to edit these things. Mm, what I'm gonna do now is just I'm gonna take this background and then we're basically gonna rebuild this whole setup. So I'm gonna put in the background here. Okay, now here, perfectly fine. I can edit everything. I can click in, do everything I need to do to these compound clips and have the changes applied to everything. And then once I've made these changes, or actually I can also go into my main master file, I can edit here. And if I edit something within this main um, compound clip, because it's a compound clip, it's gonna also apply these changes to this clip right here. So that's kind of where Final Cut Pro then again acts in your favor. So I'm going to split it up to the background part and then the main part here. I'm going to have to add another mask because there's like this part missing that I'm using the background for. So I'll have to add that back and add a mask as well. So, and this is the regular part that's just gonna stay in like that. I could even try, you can try, go ahead and try, but the exporting is gonna take some time, so it's annoying, but you could try and remove some layers and export it then, and it might work, but I'm just gonna go straight for the background separated, the foreground separated, and the top layers separated as well. And then the music, I think the music won't be that much of an issue. And keep in mind, this is going to be compressed, but it should still keep the pixels, the resolution that you want to export. In my case, I only need this part of the background. So I'm going to go ahead and crop this. And then hopefully that somehow makes it even less because there's less pixels moving, even though the sky wasn't really moving that much. So I'm gonna hit Command E, and this is the background basically. And it says 6 gigabytes, so there's something wrong. I don't know how this works. I'm gonna be honest. This is so weird because the whole project, if I was gonna export that, told me that it was 6 gigabytes too. So I'm just gonna create a new folder, stitch, where all the files come in that I'm gonna use to stitch together just for organizational purposes. You don't have to do that. It's just now let's have a look at this. This should work because it's not that intense. I mean, look at this clip. There's not a lot going on. It is 1 hour long, but it's not. Wait, is this the correct clip? Oh no, something is wrong here. Okay. 1 second. I gotta fix that because it would be annoying if I go through all this trouble and then I still have a mistake in the. But I can. This is a nice point that I can make, that if you change something here in the master, in the original background, or actually I believe in any compound clip, that it's going to apply to all the others. So as you can see, the mask is moving like this. Keep an eye on this spot right there. It's moving in and out and it looks weird. Now, this is on both clips, but I'm just going to edit this clip. And what I want to do is I want to go over here to the mask and to the control points keyframe. And as you can see, we have multiple ones. We have one in the beginning here, and then one here. And this is where the issue arises. We don't need this one. We only need, can delete this one. We only need this one, and now we can drag out these points so it the feathering doesn't negatively impact that corner right there. That should be fine. Okay. Okay, so you can see this applied to this clip now. Let's do this clip. So now we went up one layer, so the original short background loopable clip is perfectly fine now. It doesn't have the artifact here. And it also applied to this clip, which is the same, just reversed. And then these compound clips are also all fixed. Okay, so now if we were to go into the original file right here, we would also see that this was fixed indeed. That's the magic of using compound clips. But when exporting, compound clips can bite you in the ass, you could say. Okay, so I'm gonna export this. You could also say maybe you don't need the background to be of that high quality, but I don't know how that's gonna look, so I'm just gonna choose the highest quality I can because it's gonna be way easier than rendering all these sub layers, which again, for editing, super cool, for organization, super cool, but for sharing, for some reason, something gets messed up. So this is also a cool method to kind of troubleshoot where the exact issue lies, because you can have different files, and then if you can export, like let's say the background works fine, but this layer doesn't, the main layer doesn't, then you basically know something is wrong with this layer, and then you can kind of break that layer down further or fix something. And sometimes I also read that copying these a bunch of times, which I did, could also lead to some being corrupted. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's what we will definitely work for, like fixing that. Now in this clip, I wanna, I'm just gonna keep it this way because it's gonna look good in the master file here, but then in this file, or we're just gonna export this once this is done. It's not gonna look too bad. And then everything else, like on the export layer, I'm gonna show you that, and then I'll pause the video until this is done. And basically we'll take the background in first, and then we'll put this layer on top, and then we'll come back here and copy this, paste it on top of that, then add this, and then add this. Because this basically, I don't think we can, it is a compound clip, but it is a compound clip because of the, well, okay, because of the animation, but also because of, I don't know exactly why. So we could also export this, but then I would have to go in here and change the blending mode again, and that's kind of, I don't know, that would then also, but it wouldn't be as much. So I don't know. We'll see if it works. This just will be a trial and error. But yeah, the audio track, I don't think that should be a big issue, but we'll see. And we'll just try copying or exporting this once we have this layer as well as this layer too. Okay, so we're back now. I've completed 2 exports, and that's pretty much all that I need to do. Now I'm gonna hit Command I, and I'm gonna grab my stuff. Now you will see it is importing them, and this is way too long, that's why it's taking up all the space. Okay, now we've got our timeline here. This is what it looks like, and now we're gonna create the file that we can actually export. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna take these 2 clips that we have previously exported, and I'm gonna do this, and now in my case I gotta like stitch these together again because well, I need to add a mask, and this makes it just a little bit more complicated for me, but for you this shouldn't be the case if you don't have like a mask that is stitching together 2 video files. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Should take 2 seconds. In your case, in my case, it took a little longer, but just because I had to add the mask. But now the background and the main part are in here. Now I'm gonna go back to my main timeline, and I'm basically gonna select everything above here, hit Command C, go to the beginning here, and apply all these adjustments. And everything is saved because I copied it from here. And there's another thing we could have done is we could have just selected all the audio tracks or this whole file and just export audio, which I might still be doing depending, or well, yeah, it just depends on whether this export is now finally going to go through, because this has been enough steps, honestly, but okay, why is it slightly off or what? I think so. Oh man, let me just leave it slightly off. Okay, now this should be perfect, and now this should be perfect. Should all, don't want the weather here. Quit. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, okay. This looks perfect. It runs a lot smoother because half of it has already been exported. I'm not quite the fan of the... I don't need to talk about this video. There's a lot, enough stuff going on already. Okay, anyways, we have now compromised, or now we have 2 video layers, 1 star layer, and some text here, that shouldn't do anything. And then there's the sky moving, which here it stops, but that's fine. And it's pretty slow, but those who know will know and get it. Now I'm just gonna check if this has also been correctly. It appears as though they have been cut at different spots. Now I have normalized that, and now I'm gonna export this. But I also wanted to show you how you can actually add a different clip. Let's say we have this background, but you exported it into low resolution, and that way now you can see the lines and it doesn't match the whole frame. So now you need to add this in again. So what you could do is just delete this or drag and drop it over it and then readjust it. But if you had different, like if you had some other settings changed, it wouldn't automatically apply them. So what you can do is you can go to Relink Files, Original Media with this selected, not in the timeline, but right here. And then you can go into Relink Files, Original Media, and then you have to click All, and then you can click this clip that we just imported. And now you can click Locate, and here you could go ahead and find the replacement clip, and you can even name it something else if it's like low quality, high quality, doesn't matter as long as I don't know what exactly has to be the same, probably the length, some metadata, but and that's most important, this the size doesn't have to be equal or the same. So you could go ahead, find that, and click choose, and it's gonna update it, and it's gonna basically replace the file because you're non-destructively editing in Final Cut Pro, which means the original media just lies somewhere, and you're just telling the program what to show you at what points, and then when rendering, it's kind of stitching it together. And you can simply, by doing what I just showed you with the Relink Files, you can basically tell it to use the other video instead of this video in the final process, or even here when playing it back. That's kind of also what Proxy Media does, but I don't want to go into too much detail or optimize media in Final Cut Pro, what that does. But yeah, as I said before, this video is long enough. I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna hit export now. This should give me finally my final video project, 1 hour long. And I'm gonna hit export, and it is not, that's what was kind of important to me, is that it was not kind of my SSD, my USB connection, even though those were uh, pretty slow too, but it works perfectly fine for my setup. I don't record in 4K, I do full HD, and that works perfectly fine on my setup. Does what it is supposed to do, but if the export doesn't work at all, that is a problem. If it's slow, okay, I can put it on overnight, it doesn't matter. It's annoying, but not the end of the world. But if it doesn't work at all, that is concerning. Now, this is moving pretty fast. I mean, I guess those two clips were the heavy clips with a lot of compound clips, so that's where all the heavy lifting was already done. But let me just double check if I have selected the correct size, and yes, indeed I have. And with that, I can finally say goodbye to this project. It has been a very cool project. It's so annoying. And I don't know, maybe somebody in the comments knows a different solution to this issue, but I just haven't found anything, and I still, even though it is possible that I will never open this project up again, I just like having backups, and I like to know that I could theoretically go back and just edit one minor detail. I don't know, maybe that's just the perfectionist in me. But yeah,